A cast of thousands here. Thanks for everybody showing up. Actually, I enjoy doing what I do so much. I can do this for 7 hours with two people in a bar if you want. But it's nice to get individual attention. And can they ask a question? We got such few people. If as I get going a bit, you save them for later, and we could answer questions, or at least I could try. But I know if you haven't seen me around for years, I'm an old guy, been doing this for 40 some years, showing people how to get free money and help them do anything they want in life. Yeah. And I started really working for Fortune 500 clients. I got an MBA in computer science back in the 70s, and had a computer software company that failed. I was just having failure after failure. And then I started working for Fortune 500 companies in mergers and acquisitions. They were buying and selling companies. I started a little consulting business downtown, and it grew from me and a phone and desk to about 30 people down on K Street, like all these sharks that are down there now. And when I was doing these Fortune 500 companies, I'd go into government office and find government money programs and information and expertise all for free. And I'd take these programs and information, I'd take the government's name on it, put my name on it, and sell it to these people for thousands of dollars. It was crazy. Yeah, I don't know why anybody didn't know it. And I grew up in a little town called Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania. And I used to think anybody who got anything from the government was either real poor, or something like that, or had to take a congressman and senator to lunch. And so when I found out, after a couple of years of doing this and growing that business, man, anybody could get this stuff. There's so much. And I was helping millionaires sort of become billionaires. Now I'm trying to do is help the average person realize what's there, but see, it's not advertised. That's the key. All the free stuff and the good opportunities in life are not advertised. And everybody relies on Google to go to get information and help to find opportunities in life, and you're not going to find the good stuff because that's not advertised. You're going to find the people who are going to sell you the stuff because they're spending a lot of money trying to get your money. Okay, the people who give it for free, they don't spend any money on Google. So you're never going to find them. And so, I'm looking Google. So that's why the key, I think, to life or to living and not spending so much and getting more done with less money is learning how to use Google, because that's really a good place. It's all there. But right now, see, if you Google college grants right now, you're going to get 411 million. Okay, 400 million. That's more than the number of people in the United States, right? 411 million. What the hell are you going to do with that? Yeah, you're not going to live long enough. Sure, all the good stuff I'm going to tell you about is probably in there, but to tell you the truth, probably not, because you got the wrong name. Most of the free money that is given out, even for scholarships in college, is not even called scholarships and grants. So that's another thing. That's why I wear the question mark suits. Sure, the answers are out there. That's why I believe all the answers are out there. It's asking the right questions. That's the problem. We don't know how to ask the right question. We don't know what they are. And that's why I've been studying this for 30, 40 years now. And that's why I'm trying to realize, and show people that there is help out there. What frustrates me more than ever is that there is help, and you could get things done. You could get a college education with practically no money at all if you learn the system. Takes effort, and that's the key. We all want to have life easy, and it's not going to be. Unfortunately, I'd like it to be that way too. I'm a lazy sucker like everybody else, but it's going to be hard work, and you just can't make one phone call or one email and get a check in the mail next Thursday. It's not going to work that way. So what happens is you're a scientist. Your life or your project, you have to look at it like a science object or a science project. Because you got to go in the lab and start testing all different ways. That this may or may not work. There's no roadmap to anything. We're all different. We all going to rely on different sources, and what help work for somebody else may not work for you. And that's why you have to get in the lab and try to figure out, how to make this alchemy yourself that will work for you. That's the key to it. and realize, like, learning to walk, particularly if you don't know. And if you did this for 20 years, that'd be different, but if you're starting new, man, it's like learning to walk. I mean, if you have kids or whatever, I remember my kids, I have kids about 40 of them, and watching these two guys learn to walk, I mean, they fall on their butt 100 times, and they crawl back to the dining room, coffee table and pull themselves up and try it again and keep falling. Now, I knew they were going to fall, right? But they had to go through that. And it's the same with us. With anything else that we want to do. You're looking for money for scholarships or what. You have to fall on your butt 100 times to find the thing before you find it. I mean, you may get lucky, and they're the people I put in my infomercial. I made one phone call and got a $75,000 check in the mail. And no, it's a process. You're an artist, and one call will lead to another call and things like that. And that's right. What the key to all this, when you contact somebody who you thought had the money and they don't, see, the key there is, where else do you think I should go? Because they're in the business. You're not. You're just here temporarily trying to figure this out. So they go conferences and they know a lot of other stuff. So always ask, never leave empty-handed. Even if you didn't get the money, you don't leave empty-handed. You get another source. And that's the way you build and find and just dig in, have fun at it, because if you're not having fun, see, that's the key in life. If you're not having fun, you're going to give up before you get the prize. Those that are having fun doing it, man, they're going to hang in there because they're having fun. We're winning already. Why just think you're winning when you get the prize? No. So that's part of the trick, I think, of finding help or getting the free help. Sure, if you want to spend a lot of money, a lot of people that will kiss your butt, because you're going to give them a lot of money, and that's out there. But the other people that don't have that money, they still should be doing things in life, and they can. It just takes more work. Now, particularly for college, I think this is the biggest time, for the biggest college sale we've had in 10 years. Man, college is getting cheaper than ever. I mean, what's going on now really in college is that, see, every college, has a sticker price, okay? But nobody pays the sticker price. Well, if you do, particularly the foreign students, that's why they like foreign students. And they don't. And now there's data out. Actually, there's an organization called the National Association of College and University Business Officers. So these are the bean counters that work on the colleges, and they aggregate all their data. And this year, actually, 2017 and 18, the average student, paid only half price. So they got a 50% discount. So they're just average, and you got a 50% discount of the price out there. I mean, that's amazing. And that's getting bigger and bigger every year for the last 10 years. It was down to 35% just a few years back. So now, see, colleges, and why is this happening? Well, it's a lot of reasons. But the main reason is that fewer people are applying to college. So you looking for money to go to college, you're in the catbird seat, man. This is you're the driver because you're the market, and they're shrinking. So they don't want to shrink. They're trying to get as many people. Like this year in colleges, there's 400 colleges that had empty seats. Not enough people applied. And so that's why they're giving more money and stuff like that. Empty seats. Now, actually, the data show that the college, for every dollar they're getting in tuition, they're giving out 51 cents back in grants to students, so they don't have to pay. So they're living on half the cost too. So that's right. They need students. So that's why whatever it is, you're in the driver's seat. So I think one of the key things is looking at colleges and everything, don't say yes to anybody until you talk to financial aid and got it all done, because they have more money than ever to give out. They're raising money and things like this, and they want to give out more. And there's a couple little tricks too, I think, to doing this. One is, I think it's interesting to shoot low. It sounds stupid, I know. Everybody wants to go, to Harvard or go something that is some prestigious university or whatever. But with college costing so much, who the hell, if you go to a B plus school or a B minus school, or who's going to even care in 3 years? And if you go lower, then that means the college wants you. See, if you're going high out of that range and they're more prestigious than you are, but you're trying to get in because you want to hang out with the rich kids or whatever it is, you'll go and try to find money to pay for anything they say. But if you go low, they want you because they want to raise their standard of whatever it is, so they get higher in the ratings and everything, and they got better, smarter kids, and that's how they go up in the ratings, and other people apply, yada 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 yada. So that's a thing. It is one of the things is to shoot low like that. People don't realize that because it's not in our nature. Everybody wants to be better than we really are. So that's why colleges are giving out more money than ever before. But see, it's sort of you have to play their little game because they're not gonna just give everybody all the money they need. So it's like buying a used car, kind of thing. You have to get into that mode a little more. And that's why don't give a definite yes until you see the financial aid package. Maybe that's not practical in some reasons. But you see that so many colleges and universities are even going for free. They're going for next to nothing. And most people actually go to state-run colleges. I think like 70% of the students are in state-supported colleges. And why? Because they're cheaper. But they also have a bunch of money. But also what I've been running into a lot is, and I think a lot of people don't take advantage of, is that state colleges, there's other ways to just go into your own home state. In other words, a lot of the colleges and states have reciprocity. In other words, so like, and there's groups of colleges and that have reciprocity. Like there's a New England group, there's a Midwest group of colleges, and actually states. So you could go to another state. So like if you're in Illinois, you live in Illinois, you could go to Indiana, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, and Wisconsin. All those state schools at not the out-of-state price. You get a big discount. It may be the same in-state price or a little more, but you're getting a huge discount. So that's why it's, look at that. People don't realize. I know kids, I used to teach computer science at the University of Washington, D.C., and students from Washington, D.C. could go to many state colleges because they're really not a state, so they got to deal with all these other universities they don't have. So there's something called the academic common market. And that is like a lot of southern states and things like that. So you're looking at the key word there. You see, this is Google. If you know what to say, if you put in free college, you're going to get nonsense. But if you put in reciprocity programs for college, and then you'll see the list. They'll come up. There's another group called Tuition Break, and that's Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont, and then the Midwest we talked about. Western undergraduate. Then there's a Southern region. Man, there's about 30 colleges down there. Then the New England region, that's another group of colleges. Or actually, I was just reading now, too, that what Maine will do is take somebody from anywhere now. Anywhere. You can come from any state and pay the in-state tuition. Man, see, that's the kind of stuff that's happening. Because there's scrambling for students, and that's what's going on. And don't forget, and you probably know that student debt is bigger than credit card debt or any other kind of debt we have in this world, and it's ruining kids' lives, forever. Yeah, so University of Maine, a state whose number of high school graduates has fallen 9% since 2011, offered admission to students from elsewhere in the same state, the same in-state price they would have paid in their state. See, this is what Maine is doing. So if you're from Florida and you want to pay, $5,000 to go to college in Florida, Maine will only charge you $5,000. Yeah. You're in Texas, you only have to pay $3,000. Maine will only charge you $3,000 to go to college in Maine. So that's sort of neat, and that's why there's all kinds of things like that happening now. I mean, I just read a school I really liked. I don't know if you know St. John's. This is I had a roommate in college. I was a ne'er-do-well in college. I flunked English and everything. When I had 2 New York Times bestsellers, man, I tried to find that English teacher who flunked me in English. So I wasn't good at the college thing, actually, until I went to grad school. Then I was ready. But anyway, so he just got me into this college called St. John's. Now, St. John's is where they study the great books. Man, that's all they do. They read Aristotle and Plato for 4 years. You come out thinking. And then you got to get a skill. But so it's very interesting. They have 2 campuses. Now, what they did, they decreased their tuition this year by 33%. So they have a bargain at 33%. And then colleges are going for free. Maryland now is going to have free tuition for incomes, listen to this, up to $125,000 a year. Family income, you go for free. Free! New York, same thing. New York, you can go to New York colleges, the whole New York state system, and it's up to $125,000. California is giving the first year free, sort of like it's a peanut thing. So just eat 1 peanut and you get that free. Philadelphia has free. Arizona, Tennessee, these are all free colleges. A lot of junior colleges are free. By the way, if you're like 60 or more, because that's young nowadays. I'm 75 and I feel I got 20 more years to do this. So even if you're 60 or more, you could go on free or big discounts to all these state units, whether it's junior college or the regular university. Man, and that's pretty cool. And to me, at 60, you can start a whole new career. What the hell? You're going to work 20 more years. You might as well become a doctor, whatever you want. Tennessee is that. New Hampshire, all they're doing is New Hampshire. You could go for a Pell Grant. Whatever the Pell Grant is, you can go to school in New Hampshire. North Carolina, Chapel Hill, 200% of poverty. And you go for free. 200% of poverty, and that's pretty cool. 200% poverty. What's that? Well, it depends by state and things like that. But that's usually 50 grand or so, I would think. Depending on the number of people in the family and all that kind of stuff. But before I forget, if anybody has current student loans and worried about getting more student loans. I mean, that's a big scam now on the internet. The people chasing you, because you have student loan debt, and they're making money out of this. One way or another, they probably tell you they're not or whatever, but they have to. Depend on the guy who's selling to you, and some financial service company making money. You don't have to. All the legitimate things do not require that. And if you go to the Department of Education, actually, studentaid.ed.gov, studentaid.aid.gov, and you'll see there's another place too, consumerfinance.gov. So studentaid.ed.gov and consumerfinance.gov. Remember, and that's it. When you're looking at things on the internet, remember the best places to look, stay with .gov or .org. Now, some of them are not always free. 99% of, all of the federal government is probably free, and the orgs are probably free. But .coms, they need money from you because they got to pay all these people. But the other people are working on either government money or on foundation money and grant money and things like that. So those 2 programs, those 2 offices, and here's the phone numbers too. So if you have any problem with student loans, call. Here's the student loan ombudsman. So you don't go to lawyers, you don't go to accountants and all these kinds of things because they have different motives. Find the free ones first. If these don't work out, fine. Go whatever you want. 1-877-557-2575. 1-887-557-2575. Okay, and that's for the student loan. And here's the Consumer Finance Complaint Office, and they will investigate, and they have a lot of great information on what to do, if you're in debt with the student loans. 855-411-2372. 855-411-2372. And here's another interesting study just came out from the Department of Education. The data is a couple of years old, but it just came out like last month, that shows that what high schoolers and their parents know about public four-year tuition school fees in their state. Okay, so this is really a study that just came out. They're finding out, kids in high school and their parents, do you know how much it's going to cost to your state school? Okay. The students and their parents' estimates of a four-year tuition and fees differ from the actual average tuition and fees of public four-year institution and states. Okay, here's the finding of that. That's the question. Overall, 11% of the students reported estimates of annual tuition and fees at the local four-year university and state were close to actual average. 57% overestimated, 32% underestimated. So we had about 11% of the people who were thinking about college knew about what the fees were. Almost 60% overestimated. They think it's costing more than it actually does. So 60% of the people think that their in-state college tuition and fees and stuff like that is more than it actually is. So that's why you got to get the facts. Don't trust me. Don't trust anybody else who gives you some anecdotal evidence or whatever. There's plenty of data on all these kind of issues, and you go to the horse's mouth. That's why if you're wondering what a college is, call up the bursar or whatever it is, at these colleges, ask them for that, and they have it. They probably have it on the websites and all these kinds of things too. That's a very low. So you got the other main thing that people forget is your state. Okay, your state college has lots of money for college students at all ages. Again, this is all ages stuff. And like my state, Maryland, man, a couple of years ago, they had like $16 million they didn't even give away. Not enough people apply. That's a pity. Again, these are places that, people, they're not advertising. The state doesn't advertise. Maybe they put them on their website, but you got to find them. And it may not be called a scholarship, may not be called a grant, and all this kind of stuff. So that's why it's really, you got to look under the hood for all this stuff. So every state has a bunch of scholarships. Depending on where you are, it's going to be different. Some are just for high school kids. Some are just for, high school kids going to college. Some are for certain, talent they want to keep in the state. Like we need doctors, we need nurses, we need IT people, we need cops. Like Maryland does, gives you a lot of money to study criminal justice. So that's why you're looking for the needs. And that's what they give money for. So and the government does that. And somebody gets, say, oh, let's have a law that does this. Okay, so somebody, gets a bunch of elected officials say, yeah, okay, we'll have a law that does this. And they pass a law, and then they got money there forever. And it keeps coming every year. And that's the problem why we're so in debt, because these new programs come and they don't get rid of the old ones. That's why we're in debt. Maybe one of the reasons. Now, here's another thing to consider. And it depends on who you are and what your nature is, but we pay more for college in this country than anywhere else. We pay more for healthcare than anywhere else in the world. We pay like double. You go to any other developed country, and the cost per healthcare per person is like half what we pay. Education is the same way. Okay, so another way, and what's interesting about education to me, you think, oh, I don't want to go overseas. I don't want to language. Me, it'd be a food issue, but mainly the language. How are you going to study? Well, I think you have to at least consider it nowadays, because number one, the world is so much smaller. At least every year it's getting smaller and smaller. Okay, and so it's not, it's an advantage, I think, in time. Now you're an international person, so there's really more opportunities to you. Now you say the language. Well, in Europe, okay, what's left of Europe? I think England's leaving or whatever. But all the European community countries are teaching higher education in English. We are so spoiled in this country because we could speak English. Everybody in the world speaks English that wants to do business or anything. And we do it naturally, right? And so now, say in Europe, what they're doing is all their higher education is done in English. So there are like 30,000 programs in all the countries in Europe, all in English, that you could go to and pay a fraction of work time. Sure, you may have to pay a few more $1,000s in plane fare, but here you'll be paying $40,000 a year, and there'll be 20 or 15 or whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, Germany's free. You go to and these are the best universities in the world. They're not, the University of Saskatchewan or College of the whatever. No, these are big famous universities too, in English, real cheap. Like to go to the Sorbonne is like $1,000 a semester. That's for non-citizens called immigrants or whatever they call them overseas. I don't know. I mean, that's an incredible opportunity. And particularly if you're not for undergraduate, but graduate, man, that's really cool. Yeah. And that should be so there's other ways to do things like that. Here's another thing. Here, let me give you that website, studyineurope.eu. Okay, studyineurope.eu, European EU, studyineurope.eu. Okay, another thing that fascinates me, we're all trying to pad our resume, right? Well, here's a way to get Harvard University on your resume without taking SATs or entrance exam or anything. You can go to the website, onlinelearning.harvard.edu. They have all kinds of courses, and for like $50, you can take a course online and you get a certificate. So you could have Harvard on your resume and a certificate that you went to college in Harvard. That'll impress their folks, huh? Let's see, how to get registered student loan. Top paying. Also, if you're lower income, there is a feature that you don't have to pay for college applications. I think college applications is a swindle, to tell you the truth. I mean, they get almost $100, to apply for a college, right? And I see these, that's millions and millions of dollars. I mean, they got 20,000 people in some of these universities applying, So this is big money. So that's why they could hire people to review it and do all this stuff, because boy, that's a big business, just processing applications at $100 a pop. And so there's something, if you go to the College Board, collegeboard.org, they'll tell you about this program. It's college application fee waivers, college application fee waivers. Okay, so that will tell you how you don't have to pay all these fees, and that's an income determinant kind of thing. So make sure that you're worried about that, because look, people spend, I know them in my zip code, $1,000 just on applications, and that's crazy. You can buy a car, not a good one maybe, but you'll have a car. Here's another important source that people don't realize is your elected official. Okay, you have particularly in Washington. The state is important too. So every state has representatives, sort of equal to congressmen, and senators. So there's 2 legislative things. So you'll have 2 where you live at the state level. And remember those state grants I told you about, all those scholarships? Well, they could help you with them and anything else too that you have. So you could contact those offices and say, hey, because see, they want to do this, because if they give you a little favor like that and get you another $1,500 for your college, you'll vote for the son of a gun no matter what they do, right? And this is how they stay in business, unfortunately. And not by the work they did, but how they helped you, because that's how you could use them. This is the rich people use them, and so the rest of the people should use them too. So that's important. Now you have at the federal level, which is even more important. Now, federal level is more organized because they get a lot of things like this. So no matter who you are, call your local congressman, and you have 2 senators, and you could call them and ask for, hey, I'm looking for money for college. They'll probably send you a packet. Most of them have a packet, 1,500 sources or whatever that are available, like nursing programs, Again, you're interested in defense work and all these kind of scholarships and things like this. And here's a phone number for that too. If you're an old school person, and phone 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. And you could just call them. I live in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Who's my congressman? They know. They know how to figure this out. And you'll get to their office, and then you'll get some intern and say, "Well, I'm looking for scholarship money for my kid or for myself or whatever." Oh, we'll send it right out, man. And they send out mail for free or whatever, so you got to pack it in the mail. All this kind of stuff, right? Otherwise, see what happened. You go and Google this stuff. I mean, you're gonna get somebody's gonna sell you something because you won't be able to find that. That won't even be in there. It's too hard to find. So that's important. Now, the other thing about the elected official, well, actually, there's two other things. One is that any of the academies, like you're interested in, or your son, daughter, whatever, in the Air Force, Army, Navy, Merchant Marine or anything, they're the people you contact, okay? And they will help you do it. Everything is free. The other thing I think is very important for kids, particularly young people in school and then looking for a job afterwards, is contact your congressman about a summer job. And a summer job, internship in the government. Internships in the government pay. And they pay very well. And what they do too is that it's a way they evaluate you for a job when you graduate. We need lots more employees. All our baby boomers are retiring in the government employees, so we have to hire lots of people. So if you're interested, and the government has some interesting work. Where else could you study volcanoes or something like that? or work in the national park? I mean, a lot of fun stuff, nuclear power. So there's a lot of fun stuff there. So, or just a good paying job. You don't care, whatever. That's another thing. But your key to that is your elected official. They, instead of you screwing around trying to find out where in the agency or whatever and stuff like that, it's just too big. But they have a direct line. See, everybody in elected official has a direct line to every office that is just rings from members of Congress, and they get their questions asked right away. When you and I call, we go to the front desk and we wait in line. Because the bureaucrats get their money from the congressman. So that's where they get their money from. So you think they work for us. No, we give the money to Congress people to hand out. So the congressmen make the decision. So that's why these bureaucrats pay attention to them. Well, let's see. Again, because you lost it. Oh, by the way, people that are out of work, there's a lot of training money. That if you're, maybe going to college is one avenue to get more skills or whatever. There's a lot more training opportunities other than an official college. Well, even with college, it's what's called workforce development. So maybe a year or two to get a skill, and you could now train and get paid while you train for a new skill that will get you $190,000 a year or more. And these are skills that are needed. So many people getting a 4-year degree or becoming baristas at Starbucks. If you train for a skill in like they have not computerized manufacturing and all this kind of neat stuff that's going on, and you make big money and you get paid while you learn, no student debt. I mean, that is cool to me. That kind of thing. So have an open mind to those other things and to see what's available in your state like that. There's something called the One Stop, Career One Stop. If you just Google Career One Stop and then the name of your state, you will find it, or even the name of your county, because there's plenty of them for counties too, because it's usually a state program. It goes to the county, yada, yada, yada. I see we're running out of time. Okay, one other thing I want to make sure, particularly vets in the area. There's the Veteran Administration is one thing, but I think what's the best thing for vets to know about is the county Veterans County Service Office. That is Veterans County Service Office. Okay, every county has it, and I've seen a study by General Accounting Office, which are the bean counters in the government, that shows that people who use the county veteran service offices get 100% more money than anywhere else you could get it. So they're better than me at this, I guess. And so that's the place to turn. How do you find the county veteran service? Just call your county government. If that doesn't work, use a library. Librarians are wonderful. You could even ask a librarian. They have book a librarian. You go and talk to them for a while. They know the local sources. They get these questions all the time. People forget what a great resource that is. And so don't forget, and they're free. Okay.